Have you ever tried pressing your arms against a door frame and then afterwards experience that strange sensation when your arms drift upwards like you are going to fly? And have you ever wondered how that could be used in shoulder training? This is Born in 62, I'm Henrik Jyrs, and we are going to overload our shoulders today. So come on. The thing we have witnessed, the phenomenon of the static contraction against the door frame, works kind of for the shoulders, meaning that research points to the fact that static contraction will make your muscles grow and they will make them stronger, but mostly in that position where they were held. So if you press your arms in this point upwards against the static resistance, your shoulders will grow a bit, but they will mostly get stronger in this position and not all the way up. The shoulder muscles are also quite different from a lot of other muscles in our body, both in the position but also in the way the fibers are arranged. If you look at the biceps, the entire muscle is above the joint it can move. So, given a relative small contraction of the muscle, the next limb, the forearm, will move quite a bit. But the shoulder is positioned almost on top of the joint it's supposed to move, but actually also a bit below it and not above it. So if the shoulder should work the same way as the biceps, the shoulder muscle would be a long muscle running over from one point to the other. That would be difficult because our heads are in the way. But you could imagine having a long muscle here that when it contracted would lift the arm. That would make sense the same way as the thighs and the biceps and all the other muscles are working. But this is not the case, and it's probably constructed the way it is because our shoulders have such an enormous range of motion. They can move in a lot of directions, and it's not feasible with just one long muscle trying to do that. But the fibers of the lateral head of the muscles are arranged not like long fibers you have in the biceps, but in smaller bundles that kind of leapfrog into action. Meaning that some of them will work down here, others will take over here, and so it continues all the way through. In most shoulder exercises, we are not getting a full range of motion, meaning that the lower part of the motion is not trained very well. If you pull your hand in here, this is as far as it can get without beginning to turn over. There's actually shoulder action from here and until here, but if you do a normal lateral raise, down here there's almost no resistance because gravity always pulls the dumbbells downwards. So the resistance begins to build up as your arm gets longer against resistance until they reach the high point of resistance here, and then it will gradually trail off as you lift your arms higher. But from this point till this point there's absolutely no resistance. And we could train our shoulders in that position using cables, and we could overload them by actually using some resistance that are way too heavy for this part of the movement but can be moved down here. And that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to use a cable machine. For the first 5 reps I'll use a weight that is so heavy I can only move it in this relative small range of motion. Then I'll reduce the weight and be able to pull my arm a little further. Third step, I'll reduce the weight even further and be able to do full reps. That way I can blast my lateral deltoids way beyond what I can do with normal lateral raises. A very important point here is not to jerk the weight, because what we are after is a slow controlled motion. So if you are too focused on moving it very far, then you'll start off with a jerk, and that will defeat the whole purpose of the exercise. So I'll go and show you first with the left arm and then with the right afterwards. I start out with what is 30 kilos in this machine. Machine varies, so the kind of resistance you will use is up to you. I start with my hand in front of the opposite thigh, and I slowly pull my arm out and hold the contraction here. And control it on the way back and out again. And as you can see, the range of motion is very limited. I have now reduced from 30 to 20 kilos, and I can move my arm a bit further out. And I reduce once more to 10 kilos, where I'm actually able to do full reps. I normally do 3 sets for each arm, and on the last set I reduce the weight even further to 5 kilos, so I'm able to get a really high rep ending on this exercise. I'll show you that with the right arm in a moment. Okay, so here we go. I reduce to 20 kilos. And the range of motion becomes a bit bigger. That's once more 10 kilos. And I reduce one last time, and only in the last set. That was it. I don't know about you, but I can feel this in my shoulders now. So like I said, 3 sets each side, 3 drops for the 2 first set, and a 4th very light drop for the last set. And that is absolutely enough in my opinion. How often should you do it? Once a week, I'll say. If you try to do it 2 times a week, my guess is that you'll have a hard time recover fully from workout to workout. But try it out. This is not for the faint-hearted, so let me know if it works for you, what you think about it. I'll be back next week. Hi.